Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start off today's show with just acknowledging the fact that the world is a very screwed up and messed up place right now. And we here at the Dragoon's Lair podcast do not take sides. We do not want to see anyone, any innocence whatsoever being hurt. We stand with victims and their families and hope that everyone is okay and that this can be resolved as soon as possible because we're tired of the tragedies. And now we want to entertain you. So, welcome everyone to the Dragoon's Lair podcast. I am the Blue Dragoon himself, Daniel the Dragon, and Mike is not with me today. And no, it's not a solo show because I would not do that to you guys during spooky season. So, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the one, the only, the infamous Jimmy.
Boo! I'm back from my 5-state tour.
That's right. Jimmy's back, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone's second favorite co-host. You know, there's a growing love for Doug. You know, but I think it's more Jimmy. Mike is he's here when he is. So Mike's not with us today, and he's not going to know a single thing I said because Mike doesn't pay attention to anything in the world that doesn't revolve around him. But welcome to spooky season. So Jimmy, how you holding up there, pally boy?
I'm doing pretty damn good. How you doing, man?
It's been a long spooky season, and this season is not over yet. I love it.
Love it.
Yes. This is my favorite time of year. Absolutely love the spooky season. You know, I don't know about you, but I know my high school days were filled with nothing but horror movies.
Pretty much the same.
Yep. And that's the thing. Horror, it's just a way of life. And it brings people together because it's still convention season. And when after this episode it comes out on the weekend of the 28th, you can find Mike and myself wandering around the convention. If you happen to be in Parsippany, New Jersey for Chiller Theater, we are not guests. We will just be wandering around. But if you do see Mike, please remember to point him out to Markland Baker and get him to say, yeah, that guy definitely looks like Cousin Balky.
Yes, he does.
See,
But
I'm not the only one.
But we also have to make sure one thing happens after Chiller Theater.
And what is that?
Isn't it that somebody has to grow something besides his cojones?
He can't grow another finger. We've tried putting the chia seeds on the nub to see if we can get him to regrow.
Wait. Why are we touching chia pet seeds on his finger?
We were hoping that we could regrow, maybe give him a green finger. He couldn't get a green thumb, so. But.
Well, we could call Lawn Doctor next time for that.
Maybe. But yeah, no. So, the stash is a very sore spot of contention for me because we made a promise. I shaved. I posted the photos. There's video evidence of me, no goatee.
I vouch.
Yes. Jimmy definitely, he commented on it. But, Mike, where's the stash? Time is ticking away. He claims he can't do it. I claim he's not trying hard enough.
Coward.
I just don't think he's trying. I really don't. We put everything out there for our lovely audience, and I don't like it if we go back on our word, and that was something that we were, Mike and I went, and we were supposed to talk about Tiny Toons, the new Tiny Toons University last week, but we did get distracted, at which we spoke about Power Rangers for longer than I thought we were going to. I wanted to do just a quick thing, and I learned things about Mike that I didn't know, which includes that he still has some of the Power Ranger toys.
Yeah.
So I'm a little jealous only because I don't have the Zords that I used to anymore. So it hurts a little bit on that end.
Megazord initiated.
But yeah, so now I know you have an opinion because opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got
Got
one.
one.
You know, Mike unfortunately has two because he is one, as well as having one.
No, I think he's got three because he's got it ripped numerous times by other people.
No, it's just wider. But
It's
yeah,
like
so
it's not like just like Mom used to make, only smaller.
yeah. So now, what is your opinion of the new Tiny Toons Luniversity?
All right, I started watching the first episode. I started crying a little bit, not laughing, crying. I'm like, what did they do? Because, all right, I understand. You're trying to go a whole new route, which I get it. I get it. But in my opinion, why? All right, I understand you got Babs and Buster Bunny.
Well, you have to remember, like the voices are going to be different because
Yeah.
unfortunately the voice actors have passed away or
Mm-hmm.
retired. You know, but one thing that I will say, like I love Tiny Toons back in the
It
'90s.
was hysterical.
The nostalgia was not there on this one.
No.
Um, it bothers me because I did watch and they introduced Montana Max and he's not there. It's not the same voice. And I know Danny Cooksey is still with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you can change something that iconic and not. Like there are certain things that you can just leave alone. And they didn't even bother with that one. But then they make one of the weirdest changes at the very
Are
beginning.
you talking about what I think you're talking about?
Babs and Buster Bunny, no relation.
On
Oh,
now
this
it's
time they're brother and sister. Yeah, they're for what is it? Fraternal?
Yeah,
Fraternal?
yeah.
Yeah, they're twins. So it's I get it. They're rabbits and they're both named Bunny, but they went to prom together. It's a little creepy, folks. It really is
I
creepy.
mean, they reignited the bunny duck wars. The next generation, which is Plucky and Buster.
Yeah, which that went on back in the '90s as well.
Yeah,
And I get it. Every
but
iteration's
this is
going to be
getting
different,
yeah.
but this is.
This is entirely worse and everything.
Although I will give them credit for bringing Lola in because she
Yes.
didn't make an appearance until Space Jam. So when Tiny Toons first came out, she wasn't part of it. So it's like there's more inclusion, now that Sweetie is actually more of a mainstay.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It also bothers me a little bit because we're seeing, they introduced Montana Max, but there's no Elmira and I want to hear Cree Summer again as Elmira. So I gotta say, like, at least my opinion. I'll find out what Mike's opinion is, but to me, this is definitely a miss.
Mm-hmm.
I think they made a huge mistake when it came to this one.
Big.
Yeah. So
Well, before we get to that, special thank you to you guys with the premiere. I know when the Writers Guild strike and the Screen Actors Guild, you guys were like, "What can we do?" And then I gave you the I am Jimmy Haynes. I give you the past, the present, the future. But I ask the question, what if?
yes. So Jimmy asked, "What if?" and that led to me taking it up a notch with the wheel.
But we're not going to touch the wheel on the one. You remember, I had two that I wanted named. You guys did Chadwick.
Yep.
I appreciate that. You did Candy. I
Which the funny part was Candy was one I wanted to do automatically.
Good.
So we didn't even have to spin for that one. And it just so happened Chadwick Boseman was literally the first spin that it popped up.
Special shout out to Doug. Yes, I'll say it. Thank you for the Belushi.
Yep.
But now we're going to touch the one that I wanted to touch. Heath Ledger.
He's on the list, and but we're not doing the wheel today, so I don't want to.
I didn't want to even do the wheel. I just want one.
Fine, you get one. So this is going to
That's
be.
it.
This is Jimmy.
The one and done.
Everybody gets one.
And I get one.
So there's your one. So what is it? Where do you see his career have going?
Well, first off, you know
Because
that.
now you're going to make me take him off the wheel if once you do this.
Oh, I know. I've been waiting for him to come off the wheel because I wanted to make sure he came off the wheel. I
Yeah,
want
okay.
to be on here,
Yeah.
make sure.
Well, you're here.
Well, the first thing is this: everybody, if they didn't know, if you don't know, now you know now. With the Dark Knight Rises, Heath Ledger was supposed to be the judge, jury, and advocate as the Joker, not Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow in the court. It was supposed to be him. But listen, I give Christopher Nolan a lot of credit and respect. He had a backup, and it went all good. Would he have met? Would they have even expanded more? Hey, I think they could have expanded more if they had him as the Joker and did a few more, maybe one or two more movies. If time and money prevailed from Warner, which they probably had anyway, because they were making mad money off it.
Were they? They're broke. They needed
Hmm.
to be bought by Discovery.
Oh yeah, I know.
Which, by the way, whoever's programming the Max app, it doesn't really work too well on my Chromebook. It won't let me actually scroll at all. So if you guys could fix that, you know,
Please.
because your interface sucks,
Yeah.
and especially since the Writers Guild has now won their strike and are back. But why are we paying the price for this Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're jacking up the price.
You
Disney and
mean Max?
oh no, Max, Disney Plus,
Yeah, I know. They're going up another $3.
Netflix. They're all raising the prices. So instead of the CEOs getting a pay cut, it comes out of the everyday consumer, which we all need a distraction from life. So I've dunked on DC and Warner Brothers a lot, and
But
I almost feel bad about it, but I don't because they have my favorite horror franchise, Nightmare on Elm Street.
oh yeah,
It's spooky season. It's there, but it's how do you find it when it's all scattered?
exactly. And I'll tell you one thing. Even just get back to him. They could have created a horror franchise for Legend for anything, anything for him. Even giving him at least another good comedy.
Yeah. Although
But
I will say one thing that I would have loved to have seen with Ledger would have been if he would have still been with us and popping up in the third Batman movie.
yep,
We would have gotten. I would have wanted just one thing from that entire thing. Him and Joseph Gordon-Levitt together again, because it would have been a 10 Things I Hate About You little mini reunion right
exactly,
there.
exactly on that. So
Although the funny part is you do realize there was a series of that.
yeah, I never got to watch that. I mean,
I've seen it. The father was the I think the father was like one of the only characters to return.
oh Larry,
Yeah, the actor playing the father, he was the only one to return. Although I will say the girl that was playing that took over, like they kind of redid it, but
yeah, the
it
rehash.
wasn't Julia Stiles.
No.
So it wasn't terrible, but you could tell they were really stretching.
Speaking of rehashes, I know what is it? The Tom Hardy was pushing his new project at Comic Con. I think it's what is it, Argyle or Ardle? But the director of that was also the director of Kick Ass.
Yep.
And Kick Ass is getting a reboot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is funny because Kick Ass has been Quicksilver, and now,
He's been Quicksilver, he will be Craven.
and I'm sorry, but no.
No.
Now, I'm just gonna give a quick thought on the entirety of that, like, because now that it's been pushed back, I have to say, it really feels like they're going back to the late '90s, early 2000s tropes of comic book movies. Because oh, blood gets mixed in with him, so now he gets powers. It's like, I'm sorry, why would you want to replicate something like Catwoman? Although I will say, if they want to do Storm right now, Jimmy's going to understand exactly where I'm going with this. The latest addition to the WWE lineup for the women's division.
Jade Carhill.
Oh, yeah. One look at her, and I'm like, cast her as Aurora Monroe. That is your Storm. She has the physique for it, and frankly, It's like she looks like she walked right out of a comic book.
I'd still even go with Mercedes.
I'd have to do something else with her, but we can't really talk too much casting because
Yep.
but
All on
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, when someone has passed away, it makes it a little easier
Mm-hmm.
because they're no longer in the guild.
Guild.
They're members in memoriam. So yeah, but yeah. Anything else where you see where Heath would have gone, or
No, that's it.
all right? So
Let's get back to the show.
exactly. So now, since we were already into the DC universe, kind of, now Blue Beetle. I saw it. Didn't last long in the box office, and I think it was kind of a shame because it's not a bad movie.
No.
The movie itself was something that I wouldn't say it's a go-to, but in the hierarchy of the DC projects that have come out, I put the first Wonder Woman movie is at the top. I will say then Shazam with the first one, not the second one, and then I would say the Suicide Squad, the second one, not the first one, and then we got to follow that up with now Blue Beetle, and that's just out of the firsts, not sequels, because Suicide Squad I can't even count this the James Gunn one as a sequel.
No.
It was more like they're all standalones because the team will swap out.
Yeah.
And frankly, I don't want to think about the horror show, well, shit show of Killer Croc being like supposed to be towering over Deadshot, and then he looks smaller than Deadshot. I just it hurt my soul. But now they said that's supposed to keep going, but who knows where if it's going to keep going? Because the kid Zolo, I believe, he was really good.
He was.
His Jaime Reyes was better than I expected, and them giving off like bring mentioning Ted Cord and there being that like continuity of the past, I felt like was a great thing. And if you were an older comic book fan, you got it. If you only knew like Blue Beetle from like watching Young Justice, you would enjoy this. But I feel like it was completely marketed terribly.
The worst thing that happened was Warner Brothers put this out
During a strike when you can't advertise with the
three,
actors.
3 weeks after Barbenheimer. I know. Which, by the way, I'm a week. I did Barbenheimer. 1 week was Oppenheimer, 1 week Barbie.
Really? I did the Barbie movie. I wasn't doing Oppenheimer. But then again, that's also because I can't sit through a 3 hour movie. Even the Marvel movies at this point
I
are like, nah.
sat through it. I was like, oh, wow. I sat through it and everything. Then I'm like leaving. I'm like, I gotta go.
Although I gotta say, I have to agree with Christopher Titus's wife, Rachel Bradley, when she said when they get to the point where they're starting to make the bomb, if they would have made it into a montage and sped everything up, it probably would have helped. That would have made me want to see it if somebody would have said it's a montage because we all need a good montage.
Oh, yeah. You always need a good montage. But this was the only movie. No, everybody doesn't realize this was the only movie to knock Barbie out of number one, Blue Beetle.
Yeah,
I would-
barely.
Yeah, barely did it, but you know what though?
But it was also it had already been in the theaters enough,
Mm-hmm.
and if Barbie's still in the theaters, I'm pretty sure Taylor Swift's Eras Tour movie has already killed everything, like all box office expectations.
Oh no! That'll probably be number one for about a couple of weeks.
Couple
Beyonce,
weeks. These
and then Beyonce comes in.
I'm sorry, it's the Swifties. Well,
Yeah.
like there are very few groups that I am terrified of, and I am terrified of you Swifties because you are faithful beyond faithful to the point where I will legitimately say I will not even argue with you.
Don't.
No matter what my feelings are about Taylor Swift, I have zero opinion because I'm not getting into a fight with them.
No, you don't get into a fight with them. You don't get into a fight with her. You will be made into a song, Travis Kelsey.
Well, it must be nice, that Travis Kelsey has now made Taylor Swift so like popular. I mean, he's got the Derek Jeter treatment when it comes to the sales for his jerseys.
They interrupted the red zone to say, Justin in Minnesota, Taylor Swift is not at the game. I'm like, you had to interrupt a football game to announce this?
Yes. Yes, they did. Because the only reason that the NFL is actually getting better ratings, it it
Swifties.
yeah, the Swifties are the ones that are actually boosting the NFL. See,
Hey.
like I've always said here, in the Dragoon's Lair, we want to talk all things entertainment. And you know what? Swifties, I'm going to ask you, where is your best recommendation for me to start with Taylor Swift music or any of it? Really, send me an email, and you can send that email at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. Dragoon is spelled with two O's. It's all one word. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you didn't get that, it's the Blue Dragoons Lair podcast.
It's actually just the Dragoon's Lair podcast.
That's
I
true.
am the Blue Dragoon himself,
That's true.
Daniel the Dragon. And that's how that one works. But remember, please send me your emails because I do want to acknowledge very quickly that we did get a response. I want more responses on this one because pineapple on pizza. I want everyone's opinion on this one. And right now I got Doug's, and it was
Yeah.
fuck pineapple on pizza and anchovies.
Good man on the anchovies,
Yeah.
Doug.
Listen, I'm a New Yorker, tried and true, and pineapple does not belong on pizza. I don't know where you got that one from, but
Pizza Hut.
listen, to each his own. If you
Yeah.
enjoy it, good for you. But if you're at a party with me or we're hanging out and we're gonna order pizza, you're getting your separate pie if you ask for that. I don't even want it touching my half of the pie. That's just how I feel. It's so controversial.
And you can send your opinion in on that too.
DragoonsLairPodcast@gmail.com. That's Dragoon's Lair Podcast, all one word. Dragoon is spelled with two O's. That's Dragoon's Lair Podcast@gmail.com. Thank you, Jimmy, for helping me shill. Mike just doesn't give me the opportunity.
No problem.
See, this is why we love Jimmy. Jimmy is the man. Round of applause for Jimmy. That's right. So, now, what was your impression of Blue Beetle, though? Seriously,
I liked it. It gave a good story, and I'll say this: it is not part of the Snyderverse.
nope.
Thank you for that. And
Although they do make a reference to Superman and Wonder Woman flying and how they do this.
Well, they
But
had
that-
to do that.
But you know what?
with DC.
But that's at least like a little
Mm-hmm.
quick thing. I will say that I felt like the comedy felt like it was almost overtaking it at times because George Lopez,
Of course.
but at the same time it started to feel like that felt more in place with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because of the comedy element, it felt more accessible to everyone. And I mean, this is the first Hispanic superhero, and it got no love.
It should have got some love, and it should have got some respect. I'm gonna
Yeah.
say it.
I got no
Some-
respect around here, no respect at all.
I'll tell you, yeah.
But yeah,
You
so-
drop. I went to Vinny's Pizzeria. I dropped down there two steps, physically and socially.
Yeah, so I mean, I give Blue Beetle a thumbs up, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I got to give it a 7.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna give it. I was gonna blow about 7, 8
Yeah.
around there, but I'll give it that.
Yeah, on we're gonna be doing the rating scale of 1 to 10, but if it's an overall, we'll say if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and I give it a thumbs up definitely. It's a thumbs up. It's not 2 thumbs up. It's just thumbs up. So now Blue Beetle left the theaters pretty quick too.
Unfortunately.
Now DC though has finally brought back the Doom Patrol to finish off its season.
Wait. Were you ready to say the fuck up its season?
No, well, it kind of is. I mean,
That
I-
whole group is hysterical anyway.
I gotta admit, like, the thing is, when it comes to Doom Patrol, they are not the normal superhero
No.
show at all. It really like it spans the gamut. And I got to say this latest season, I mean, the cast alone, I mean, I love the cast. I really do. But they brought in Madeline, I think Madeline Zima.
Yeah.
I remember her all the way back from The Nanny. And she has become an even more talented actress. And I almost feel like she's not getting to do enough with Doom Patrol. But that girl definitely has some real talent.
And there's
And
what,
it's
10 episodes or 12 episodes this?
I honestly have no clue. I
I
didn't
know they're up to 8.
No, they just did 9.
9? Yeah,
Yeah,
correction,
when they
9.
came back from the hiatus,
Yes.
they dropped 7 and 8 at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, so far, I love the show. I do. But the latest episode, it hurt. Yep. It hurt. And it was because they turned it into a musical. It really was the
Scrubs was a better musical.
Scrubs had a better musical episode. Buffy the Vampire Slayer had a better musical episode. In all honesty,
Hamilton was better than this.
Hamilton's better than just about everything on the planet.
Except
I don't.
for Rent. Rent was
Oh
good too.
no! Hamilton blows Rent out the fucking water.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. Rent is second to that.
Yeah.
That I know but I'm looking at it was like almost Hamilton, Rent,
Yeah,
and Brendan Fraser peeing off a balcony.
Yeah, that really was the standout moment of the latest episode of Doom Patrol. They brought it back, and it's like, okay, we're finally going to do the big bad. Although I will say, it would have been nice. It would be nice for them to wrap it back up with bringing back Mr. Nobody, because Alan Tudyk coming back would be great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but he's been running around voicing Clayface and the Joker on Harley Quinn. Although the fact that Kite Man's getting his own show. Yes, they're doing an animated Kite Man. That to me, I was like, oof. But yeah, but no, like seeing in the middle of Cyborg breaking out into a song and dance number, you have Brendan Fraser standing on a balcony above him, peeing into the garden, and it's not just a little bit. You honestly thought that he turned on a fucking hose.
And it was not a Busby Berkeley musical number either.
No, it was not.
Listen, this was even better than Sean William Scott in American Pie.
Yeah, so this is like, I'm not a fan of musical episodes, but if a show can do it right, I'm okay with it. And I mean, I guess these guys can sing, because I can't take anything away from their talent. I just am not a fan because it didn't feel like it fit. But that's my opinion on it. But so far, I'm liking the way they're going with this. I don't know about you. How do you feel, Jimmy?
They're bringing everybody back here and there. They're starting to gel everything together. I mean, this Immortus character, it just makes me laugh.
Especially because Immortus is inhabiting a character we've seen before.
Yes.
And yeah, every day is Immortus Day. Ugh.
Happy Immortus Day.
Happy Immortus Day.
Happy Leif Erikson. Oh, I'm sorry, that's SpongeBob.
No, Leif Erikson.
Leif Erikson Day.
Yeah. Well, when is America Vespucci Day? Because clearly we had Indigenous Peoples Day not that long ago.
Yes.
Like, I just find it funny that we're having holidays like Immortus Day popping up on the show. It really is very irreverent. The cast, I mean, like seeing some of the people, and I always hate that I can never remember this guy's name, but seeing him come in as like what is it? Oh shoot. Negative Man's like boyfriend.
Oh, Sendal Ramamurtry?
Yes.
From Heroes?
Yes, Dr. David Suresh.
Yes.
Which
Mohammed Suresh.
Yes, which I feel so terrible about that because we just went in, he kind of gets caught up in both writer strikes because the last writer
Oh
strike
God.
from 2007 was when Heroes took a nosedive, and his character was in the middle of like transforming into like almost like a spider kind of character, and it's just it just kind of gets shelved by the writer strike. I mean, at least this time they realized stop, don't do anything until after, so they have already had their scripts. But yeah, this was. But I will say the musical episode was not on my highest rated, but the return was at least like an 8 for me for the two back to back for episode 7 and 8.
Yeah.
But when it got to this one, the only thing that's making me say a 6 on the scale is Brendan Fraser peeing off of the balcony. That really was like,
I give it a 6.5.
yeah.
I'll give it a half point more
Okay.
just for distance,
Oh yeah, he really was pissing for distance on that one.
which unfortunately his Aunt Rose didn't. Oh wait, that's Jeff Foxworthy
Yeah.
off the balcony.
Yeah, we've had some. There's been some crazy shit, crazy shows, crazy everything. So now, you know, we got to talk. We got to go over to Disney Plus and talk because let's start with Loki.
Yes,
Loki's return has been impressive.
very.
Did you saw the latest episode?
Oh yeah.
Now, the latest episode answered a question that I had on the last episode of the podcast when I was talking to Mike about it, which was where does Loki season 2 fall in on the time frame of the MCU? And this is the tail, like this episode was where the after credit sequence takes place in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So now we know that this is all going on at the same time as Quantumania.
Yep.
So that to me just basically is like a nice little gelling and getting everything together. I'm loving what they're doing with Sylvie. Although I will say seeing her at a McDonald's that was from straight out of like the what was it, the
The
70s?
80s
Yeah, the 80s.
in Kansas.
Yeah. Although I think I said it last time, but I will reiterate that there was a McDonald's in Brooklyn under I believe it was 86th Street, New Utrecht Avenue, where they embraced it and they went full on and did the same thing and was serving for a limited time the food at the same prices from back then.
Thank you.
I miss that because that was what McDonald's really was. Affordable food, not good food, affordable.
Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
Keep stroking it. But no, I will say one thing that I did love was I saw an article the other day that McDonald's brought back, at least for one day, where you could get the buckets. So you were able to get your Halloween buckets.
Yes.
The 4 different ones: the ghost, the witch, the pumpkin, and what was the other one? The Frankenstein, I think.
I think yeah.
Yeah. So it was
Oh
like,
gosh, I remember those.
yeah, those were always fun.
My mother still has the pumpkins.
I always remember like if you could go to McDonald's and you would get the coupon book that you could give out the coupons so kids could go and get like a small ice cream.
Now you go to Wendy's for Frosties for that.
Yeah, because well, at least their machine works.
What? It's either vanilla chocolate or pumpkin spice, or during the summer it's strawberry, which is pretty good.
Which, you know what? Since you said pumpkin, I've got to ask, which do you prefer, pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie?
I'm a pumpkin pie guy. I was born and raised on pumpkin pie.
See, I'm not a fan of the pumpkin. I like the sweet potato
Sweet
pie.
potato is. I've had it a few times. It's not bad, but but I've been on more pumpkin. I mean, I've even had a mixture one.
See,
once.
but but then again, like Thanksgiving's around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a turkey guy. I'll make a benin. I'm Spanish. I'm doing a roast pork.
Oh yeah.
So,
Believe me, you're one of the many that I've always known since. And I bring it to even Boston Market, where you could get your turkey, your ham. Then people would get. I know a guy. He used to have filet mignon. I knew couple of guys that I went to school with. They went out for sushi.
Yeah.
So and then everybody has, even my friend Ray and everything. He'd make the penne
Yeah.
and everything. So
I pronounce it one way, other people pronounce it another way, but that's the wonderful thing about Spanish culture. We all say the same shit just differently.
see,
Ay vey. But but no. So if you would like to answer this question, I will be leaving a poll on the what is it? Oh God,
Spotify.
thank you. I am like really
And I don't
feeling it
even
today.
have Spotify. I see you guys through iTunes.
Yeah, you go through iTunes. We primarily go through Spotify, but I will be
Doug
leaving.
goes through iHeart, I believe.
I think Doug does iHeart and Spotify. Doug is truly the super fan.
And Mike, stop publicizing this on Pornhub.
Hey, hey, hey!
He
I'm
can-
going to Exotica. He can post on Pornhub.
No, yeah, but only his stuff, not the Blue Tunes podcast.
Hey, listen, I'll take the listeners as they come.
Oh, and by the way, as David Letterman used to say, if you can, have a tasty beverage when you can.
Yep. Don't forget to drink your water. Stay hydrated, folks.
Yep.
But yes, so no, but I'm gonna post the poll on there, and I want you guys to contribute, and I want to know. So if you get a chance, once really answer the poll. The poll will be: which do you prefer, pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie? So we got a split decision right here. So we need some tiebreakers. So come on,
Doug.
let us know. More than Doug. More than just
Doug.
I know Doug is going to, because if Doug has such strong opinions on pineapple on pizza and fucking anchovies, which we didn't even ask about anchovies, but he threw that in there.
That's my man.
So yeah, do it. We really want we want to know, because you know what? This will help determine what we have for Thanksgiving. Will it be sweet? Will it be sweet potato pie, or will it be pumpkin pie? And by the way, if anyone wants turkeys, you can find wild turkeys running around Staten Island all over the place.
Just look on Whiskey Burritos Snap.
We had to give a nice little shout out to our friend Pauline.
Hello, Pauline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every day she puts it.
Yeah, there's turkeys all over the place. Staten Island is infamous for having wild turkeys everywhere, and
Not the bottles.
yeah, no,
bourbon.
no. These
No.
The very invasive
excuse
species
me,
of
whiskey.
bird. So please, let us know if you need a free turkey. I'm sure you can just grab one. I'm not advocating anything. I'm just saying.
Or just please spend $300 or $400 at ShopRite or Stop and Shop and cash in on your free turkey. Right?
Yeah. I will say, I would assume that the turkeys that are running around Staten Island will have no hormones added.
That's true. But the garbage they've eaten, ugh.
Well, then for that, you might as well just eat tilapia.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that either.
No. It's all about good eating around here, and we enjoy our food. You know, food is part of entertainment, I have to say.
Food is fun.
Yes, but food is also part of entertainment. Think about it. You go to the movie theater. What do you want to get? You get popcorn. Some people like their red vines. Some people are going to like their jujubes, or they're going to get like the snow caps, or just a box of M&Ms.
Pizza.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
nowadays, you go to one of the ones that has an actual menu, because you get food. You'll get your nachos. You'll get your hot dogs. You'll get a hamburger. They'll actually have food.
Yes, even fries.
Yeah. And maybe even a shake.
Yeah, I know that.
Yep. So, and that's the thing, food is part of everything. So that's why I want to know: sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie? Answer the poll, and trust me, we really want to know. Like, what do you guys think? I'm not cutting out the fact that I completely blanked, because it's been a long week. It really has, and I've been playing catch up on a lot of shows, and because now we got to move from Doom. We went from Doom Patrol. We went Blue Beetle. Loki. But now I got to go a little spooky season. But there's one thing I want to talk about before the one that Jimmy already knows. Werewolf by Night. Did you see that Disney decided that they're doing a colorized version of it, where last year it was black and white, only went to color towards the end? and that where it was like just the red was like the power from the jewel was the thing that was like this is now in color but it's black and white. Now they're Turner Classic moving it and
Hello, I'm Ted Turner, and I just gave Disney $1 billion so they can turn Werewolf by Night to color.
yeah, and it's like Werewolf by Night in color. You know, I like the I don't know, did you watch Werewolf by Night last year?
Yeah.
I loved that it was in black and white. It gave that old horror element to it of a classic Universal like monster movie.
First off, the opening, the special Marvel opening, like it was a special
Yep.
presentation, brought me the nostalgia to when you remember when, and I'll say it, when Channel 2 used to have the Charlie Brown specials, you used to see
Oh yeah. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Santa Claus is coming to town had the same Rudolph the Red. They all had the special
Yep.
opening. This one had that, and so as did, and we'll talk. You can talk. We'll talk about even during the holidays, the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas
Yep.
special, and everything. And thank you for reminding me. Now I'll watch this, and I take that off my Halloween list because I gotta watch that. And yes, the ever popular funny spooky Hubie Halloween.
See, I don't think I'm gonna watch a colorized version of Werewolf by Night.
I gotta go in open minded to see how it is, and if and I'm like, yay or nay, and then I'll be like, okay,
See, I like the fact that you say yay or nay as opposed to Mike, or it's eh or eh. It's like you making noises. Come on. It's
the one thing I want to see in color is Man Thing.
see,
That's the one thing I would like to see in color.
he was in color at the very end,
at the end.
which I like the fact that they waited to the end to do it. And in all honesty, there was something about it in black and white
Hmm.
that really gave me more of the nostalgic feel. You know,
The Universal horror.
yeah,
feel.
it felt like Universal horror, and we've done plenty of film classes and stuff together, and you know, I love a good classic movie that's in black and white, and I don't mean this. You know, everybody goes Casablanca. I actually like To Have and Have Not, Key Largo. You know, a lot of the
The
classic.
Apartment,
yeah.
Miracle on the
Marty.
original Marty, yes.
Yeah, you know, like a lot of the
Lost Weekend.
yeah, the classics were in black and white back in the day. Hell, even our old TV was like The Honeymooners, the
Mhm.
original Twilight Zone, I Love Lucy. You know, these were shows that are iconic, and they're iconic in black and white.
Mhm.
Even Bewitched started off in black and
Black
white.
and white.
And that's the thing, you know.
Even My Three Sons started off in black and white, and it
Yeah.
also had Uncle William Frawley.
Did Eight Is Enough start off in black and white?
No, Eight Is Enough was full color. That was 1970s. That's
Ah,
Dick Van Patten and
yeah.
the late Adam Rich and Willie Ames.
That's right, you know. Eight is enough. No more.
Roadhouse.
Exactly. I had to, folks, but you know, it's really one of those things where we're, you know, that's why it's like it's spooky season. I think like that return to the classic nature of black and white. If they're colorizing it for some other reason, I don't know, but Disney bothers me when they doing something like that. But I mean, then again, I was the guy that sat through Deadpool 2, Deadpool 2 uncut, and then Once Upon a Deadpool. So, you know, but that's Ryan Reynolds.
Hi,
And-
I'm Ryan Reynolds for Mint.
Listen, I will
Mobile.
I don't care. I am comfortable enough in my sexuality that Ryan Reynolds is a handsome man, damn
Yes,
it.
he is.
You know, that man can I don't care. He is the nicest man. I will put Ryan Reynolds up there with Keanu Reeves as two of the nicest guys that ever walked the earth. Because who but Ryan Reynolds would take a team like Wrexham and turn them into something so big when most people didn't even know who the fuck they were?
Remember, if he keeps doing this for another 2 years, you'll be seeing him on the USA Network and English Premier League. Manchester United versus Wrexham.
It's always a possibility. And I
Yeah.
am not a soccer guy, but still, like,
People are watching the documentary. Why? Because it's Ryan freaking Reynolds.
Exactly.
It's what he called from. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia
Yep.
too.
Yep. I didn't watch that show.
I know. I watched a little bit. I got to catch up a little more.
I've
on that
caught
again.
I've caught clips.
Relaunched.
I've caught clips. It just wasn't something that like really caught my attention that made me have to dive in. But, there's always time. Everything's streaming nowadays. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of which streaming platform are you willing to pay for. Now, I got to talk with Jimmy about this one cuz Goosebumps made a return.
Yes.
Now, we know there's been a lot of controversy with Justin Long. So, Justin Long, you've done some things.
You naughty boy.
Yes. Now, I'm willing to separate the art from the artist because apparently Disney can,
Yep.
But, oh no, we're going to fire James Gunn from some tweets from way long ago that he's completely a different person. Justin Long, however, wasn't that long, but okay.
And
But
by the way, who directed Guardians of the Galaxy 3? James Gunn.
yes, because after the Fox merger, they rehired him, and then because he did Suicide Squad, and they realized, oh shit, he's gonna go off and do good stuff for the other guys. But I digress. So Goosebumps grew up. I didn't read the books as a kid because I think they came out a little after I was
Yeah.
older than the reading age for those. But I did watch the show
On Fox.
on Fox and also the further along. I will say R.L. Stine is a great writer.
Amazing.
Yep. He has more books than Stephen King.
He is the young adult version of Stephen King.
Yes. And I will say I love the 3-part series that they did, the 3 movies they did on Netflix. What was it, last year or the year before? Off of his, what was it, Nightmare Alley or something. It was like, I forget the name of like where it came from, but it was one of his other series, which was a lot darker and more teen oriented than Goosebumps. But this one, I gotta say, I actually like this what they've done with the 6 episodes of the Disney Plus series of Goosebumps more than the 2 movies with Jack Black.
Exactly, because the Jack Black, I'm going to quote one of my old high school teachers, English teachers. Now, you've seen the size of the book of Gone with the Wind, correct?
Yes.
Now, you understand that they took about four chapters of that book, which was about 40, 50 pages, and they made it into 5 minutes of film. That is comparing to taking a bouillon cube into and sucking on it and go. That's what it was like. That's what it was like on that,
Yeah.
in a way. With the Jack Black Goosebumps and everything, because you gave us all this stuff
It was
and everything, and then you did it. You didn't do it once. You did it twice.
did it twice, and it really was just like they really crammed way too much in. I think a series is always the better way to go with something like this.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, Justin Long isn't the main focus. He just happens to be there, and he's one of the bigger names on the show. But, and I'm a fan of Justin Long. I don't want anybody to get anything twisted on this one because I am a fan.
I enjoy Justin Long myself also.
Outside of Tusk. Because, no. Just Tusk? No. No. I know it's blasphemy for a Kevin Smith fan to say this, but Tusk, just no.
Bob Berrien's established him as going into the. If you did see it, now that was his first horror flick in a while that he went into, and then he did Goosebumps.
Yeah, but Goosebumps though, this new one. What's your first impression of this now for the Disney Plus one?
Like I said, I enjoyed it. I watched all 5 episodes.
Well, now that
And then the
as we're
6th.
recording, the
There is
6th
the 6th
episode
today.
dropped. Yep, as of our recording.
Mm-hmm. And I was very pleased, very impressed with everything. The storyline kept you in there.
And it's still going. It's
Yep.
still like
They have 4 more episodes left.
Yes, I believe
because it's
so.
a 10 episode and everything, and it really, really pleases. Especially the guest stars they had today. I was like, oh wow, I haven't seen him in years. I haven't seen him in years.
Oh yeah. Not only that, but it's like they each episode has built into a larger story of a connected universe. Now, granted, I don't believe that this is an R.L. Stein, like, this is more inspired by
Yeah.
R.L. Stein's Goosebumps, not
Yes.
a direct, like, translation.
No.
But it's hit some, I will say now, that we're going to say spoilers because,
Mm-hmm.
spoilers, because this one's a little more deeper than, us cracking some jokes about Doom Patrol and peeing off of a ledge.
Mm-hmm.
But no, so this one, you get some of the classic stories where The Mask, which was one of, I think, probably the first Goosebumps one to come out when on Fox, when it was, I think they did it late at night, which was the Halloween, the mask that it's like with the girl that she puts the mask on
Mm-hmm.
and it starts to overtake her. So they've referenced the Mask episode. I don't remember about Worms.
The Polaroid. I
The
think it was
Polaroid, absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the Polaroid one might have been the Goosebumps episode that had a young and somebody correct me if I'm wrong on this one. Send us an email at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's Dragoon's Lair Podcast, all one word. Dragoon is spelled with two O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. Send me and correct me if I'm wrong on this one. But a Barbie star was in the camera episode of Goosebumps, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe you know who I'm talking about.
Ryan himself.
Ryan Gosling. Yes.
Yes.
I believe he was in that, like, because the old Goosebumps had, like, all-star lineups of actors from everywhere. But yeah, I could swear it was Ryan Gosling in the camera one. I don't, like I said, don't remember the Worms, but now we're getting to Slappy
Yes.
and bringing back Slappy. I mean, granted, Slappy, the ventriloquist dummy, was a big thing for the Jack Black movies as well.
It's a R.L. Stein cornerstone.
Oh
basically.
yeah, Slappy is definitely a like staple when it comes to R.L. Stein's like Goosebumps series. So it's really one of those things where you're just like, this show has, I believe, paid homage in such a great way to the original, not just to the series, but also to the legacy of the books. So, so far for the 6 episodes in totality, I will actually give this one an 8 out of 10.
It's worth an 8 out of 10. I'll agree on that.
Yeah, it's 8 out of 10. There's no like ifs, ands, or buts about that one. Now, I know you're not really an anime fan. You watch some stuff, but
I watch
not
some stuff, but
you'd be more classic anime. See, now we got the new fall season, and the new fall season of anime has dropped, and there's so much good stuff. There's one anime Jujutsu Kaisen came back. That's fighting demons and stuff. The the first few episodes are kind of a flashback, but then they've gone into the Shibuya arc, and anybody who knows, that one is, oh my god, this is insane.
Keep going.
And the episodes are great. So it's definitely something I recommend. Go back and watch the first season. But I do have to give another recommendation for a anime that is now on Hulu, Undead Unluck. It has a romance element to it, but basically it really is a guy who, he can't die. He's basically immortal. He cannot die. He's looking for a way to die. And he comes across a girl who has what she calls unluck. Basically, anybody who comes in contact with her, their luck goes completely to garbage. And the more luck that the more you're around her or the more contact, yeah, bad things happen. And it's had, I believe, 2 episodes so far on Hulu, and I haven't heard the dub voices yet. I'm hoping that it does. Disney and Hulu usually take a little longer to dub their stuff, but to see a guy who can't die get hit by a train, the only thing that's left is his head, and his body is regenerating, and he's using his blood as like a rocket to push himself through the air. Oh, you can't get better for a fun spooky season kind of show when you get that. And it has like she can't have contact with other people without them getting hurt. He wants to die and he can't get hurt. So it's like he can get hurt but he can't die. So they make a cute couple. They really do.
Just to follow up to what you say,
Go for it.
Ryan Gosling and Goosebumps. Say cheese or and die. That
Yeah.
was his episode.
Yes, he was in the camera episode.
Yes, he was.
Yep.
And
So
that aired February 9th, 1996.
see?
Yes.
So 96. I was already 3 years into Power Rangers at that point. I think at that point they were they were moving on to Zeo
Yes.
because it was 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin and then it moved on to Zeo. So they were in between the Ninja Powers and Zeo, if I'm not mistaken. But I can't say that I'm rarely mistaken, but I'm usually right.
Please email Danny for that one.
Yeah. Yep. But if you if you have any other celebrities that you remember from old Goosebumps that have become iconic actors of the day, send us your email at dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's dragoonslairpodcast, all one word. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
So send us those emails, let us know, do you like sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie? These are the important questions in life. These are questions that there's a burning desire that they require an answer.
We have the questions. You have the answers.
So give us your answers. Now, I want to make one more anime recommendation because the second season has come back on High Dive. And it is The Eminence in Shadow. This show is absolutely fucking amazing. I love it. Now, anybody who doesn't understand what some anime types are, there's a classification of anime called isekai, which basically means getting either reborn or transported to another world. This one kid wants to be kind of a superhero-like character, and he doesn't want to be the hero. He doesn't want to be the villain. He wants to be more like a shadow broker, dealing with everything in the shadows. He gets killed and gets reincarnated into a world where there is magic. And he saves a girl who was trapped in a blob-like form of a mass of like flesh. When he does this, he's giving her a bunch of stories that he's telling in season 1 about that he's created up in his mind of the things around him about the cult of Diablos. He does this, and what happens? Yeah, his lies are actually the truth. But Eminence in Shadow is absolutely amazing because he's lying about things he doesn't even think he's there. He thinks he's lying, even though it's all true. So it is definitely worth a watch. There is the fantasy element to it, and if you think, what would you do if you were reincarnated and got to keep all your knowledge from another world? You get to see how one person can do this with an entire organization of followers because he's made up this entire story that ends up being real. The second season opens up and it just keeps getting better. And the dubs have been coming out at the exact same time. It's been a simul dub on High Dive, which I love. I love when it's a simul dub. So I'm going to leave off my anime recommendations there. I want to start adding more anime recommendations in. It's something that I love, and especially with Mike not here, gives me an opportunity to do something that I love without having to hear him say Pornhub.
Or OnlyFans.
Hey, listen, I have no problem being a fan of people and supporting people, which If you guys want to support us, make sure you listen to us on all your different podcasting platforms: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast. We're also on Amazon Podcast. So we are on every platform that you can think of to get your podcasting needs.
And
So
there's also a video on YouTube.
that's right. Video episodes come out later on YouTube on Blue Dragoon 13. That's my YouTube channel, and you're able to watch the episodes there if you want to be able to see all the fun that goes on here, or little stupid shit we're doing that you can't see, and we're making each other laugh. So, now, before we wrap things up, I came up with a thought, and I'm going to do this with Mike, and I want to do this with I want to bring this up with more than once, because is there a cartoon that back in the day, underrated, that you think that could currently make an actual good live action movie today? I know you're adjusting. You have something in mind. You're making it clear to me. I can sense it, but they can't hear you at home. So until they see the video, but say it. Come on, Jimmy. Do it.
Hong Kong Phooey.
Number one super guy. Yeah, that's Hong Kong Phooey could be fun.
Yes.
But I don't know if it would be a good movie. Only because of the fact that if you're keeping him as Hong Kong Phooey as a dog,
Yeah, I know.
it's going to be a CG thing. If they do it, I would say if it could be done like the way they did the Sonic the Hedgehog movie so far, then I'm all in. But if it's like Mr. Peabody and Sherman and Peabody,
What about, don't forget Detective Pikachu?
no, Detective Pikachu, that it was never going to be bad because it's Ryan Reynolds.
That's true.
Even the worst Ryan Reynolds movie, Green Lantern, is the only one. That's the only Ryan Reynolds movie that
Green Lantern.
no one should ever watch. And
That's true.
I mean, his small appearance in X-Men Origins Wolverine wasn't terrible in the beginning. He just wasn't in it at the end. But then again, that was another victim of the 2007 writer strike.
Yep.
So if the writers are back, maybe it's time that we actually get the studios to come to the table again and actually just give in to the actors. You went 5 months with the writers. The actors joined in, what was it, 3 months in? So about 3 months in, the actors then go on strike. So are we going to have another go 5 months before you guys are willing to cave? Because you're not going to have anything to you'll have stories and scripts, but you won't have anything to film and be in the theaters except for everything you've pushed back a year.
Coming soon to ABC from the makers of The Golden Bachelor comes The Golden Bachelorette.
Oh, God. No, see, in all honesty, I heard something the other day that made me say I would actually kind of see that. And I started kind of thinking a little bit about it. The cast of Friends today is currently the age that the Golden Girls were when they started filming The Golden
That's
Girls.
true.
So I would love to see, not The Golden Bachelor, The Golden Friends. Ross, dead.
He's extinct, just like his career at the museum.
He passed away. Otherwise, he'd end up being Stan. He would be the Stan character, from back in the day. Matthew Perry's character, I'm sorry, he doesn't get to survive because the girls all have to live together. And Joey is basically your Blanche.
I figured Joey would be Rose.
Okay, but he was more of a whore.
How you doing?
Exactly. So there you go. So that would be that's quick little premise, Bring him back, just bring him back old. And I mean, in all honesty, you take a look. I mean, Jennifer Aniston still looks amazing. She will be the grandmother heartthrob for another generation.
She's the gilf. She's the gift that keeps on giving.
So yeah, so these are the things that come into my mind at times. But yes, now we will be going over other cartoons and shows that could possibly make movies throughout the coming episodes. So this Jimmy came up with a decent one, but I don't know how I feel about Hong Kong Phooey. That one really wasn't on my list. Although I will say, like, I'll give you one from mine, Johnny Quest.
Yes.
A live action Johnny Quest.
I think everybody's been waiting for Johnny Quest to be made longer than them to make the Barbie movie.
Yep. But no, I don't think anybody was expecting a Barbie movie outside of animated Barbie movies. But yeah.
What makes me laugh now is, we bring that up, that we want to see anime being made into real life. Now we're going to have next month a real life movie being made into an anime.
And which one was that again?
Scott Pilgrim.
Yep, Netflix will be having Scott Pilgrim. Technically, it started off as a comic, so it'll now be. But what was it? The entire cast from the movie is back voicing their characters. And this time, though, I think this should definitely be an interesting take, because if this is going to stick more to the actual like comics, then we're definitely going to get a different ending for things.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it, especially Mary Elizabeth Winstead back as Ramona. I loved her in Ahsoka. I have thought she was. I've literally thought she was amazing since the first time I saw her in a movie, and like even on TV shows and stuff. But like the thing that always stood out for me when it came to her was Sky High. Seeing her in Sky High was that thing where I was like, oh, this girl is going to go places. And she has had a great career, and I want to see where she goes next.
Well, you see who her husband is, right?
No.
Ewan McGregor.
Oh.
Obi-Wan himself.
There we go. See, look. Talk about a great career.
Yeah.
2 Star Wars people all together now. It's just the way the world works. I want more good news like that. See, I didn't pay attention to personal lives, but then again, when you pay attention to people's personal lives, unfortunately, you get crazy shit like, oh, Will and I haven't been together for 6 years. We've been separated. Then what was the point in slapping Chris Rock? I'm in love. I'm still in love with Tupac. I had sex with his ghost. I'm sorry, Jada. I don't want to hear you have alopecia. What I need to hear is you're in therapy. People want to complain about Britney Spears dancing with knives. I'm okay.
Wait.
I'm okay with her dancing with knives more than I am with Jada not being.
Well,
in therapy.
that's going to be her new Vegas residency, right?
Nice.
Knives. No, not nice. Knives.
Yeah. Well, I thought she was cast in the third Knives Out movie.
But one thing. You know who Jada Pinkett still got to blame for this. I'm glad he went to jail.
Which one?
Suge Knight.
No, like Jada needs to seriously, like, actually go into therapy, and I mean not for just being off the wall, because being eccentric and a little different is fine. It's more a matter of she needs to learn there are boundaries of things you don't talk about. I'm sorry, but how much more can you emasculate Will Smith?
How much more can you remind kids that her son is tattooed on Salvo Cano's thigh?
It's not even that.
I know.
I didn't need to hear her say that Will never made her come. That Will doesn't make her come.
No, he just made. No. Actually, he made her come. He made her come to the Oscars to see him slap Chris Rock. But then that turned into a Netflix skit on Chris Rock's Netflix.
Yeah,
special.
but keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth. You're separated. or is this now the 6 year separation a kind of like an actual revelation to Will? He didn't know that they were separated for 6 years.
And Jada, please stay away from Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
We know his Tinder profile is a Walmart truck backing up to his house.
Okay. Now, I do want to make one thing because last recommendation because Jimmy and I are both wrestling fans. Now, I want to tell everybody that they should be watching. I know it's on Vice and the first season, well, a season is on Pluto TV of WoW, Women of Wrestling. The WoW superheroes, it is goofy wrestling in its highest caliber whatsoever. And they've had a long history of wrestling. I remember it back in the early 2000s, actually around the same time that Jimmy and I met. So
Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
it's
it's
back. I mean, their first season they had Tessa Blanchard there. Tully Blanchard's daughter was the champ to help them
yeah.
push it.
AJ Mendez has
Yeah,
been like a commentator. She's not currently there in the current
no,
season, but that's because she's busy doing her stuff for Heel season 2.
with her husband Phil
Yep,
Brooks himself.
there you go.
But
So,
also they have their Holly Dead. I've met her.
yep.
Shit, let me tell you something. You see how demonic she is. She was always demonic on the indie circuit. Please, her and Thunder Rosa were a phenomenon as the horror sisters
Yep.
in the indie circuit. I highly publicized them. Plus, you know who owns WoW?
Genie Bus?
You know what else Jeannie Buss owns?
No, what?
The Lakers.
There you go.
Now, here's a funny thing, because I watched that whole miniseries.
Yep.
When her father, Dr. Jerry Buss, first had the team, one of the first things besides winning the championships there was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar breaking Will Chamberlain's scoring title. Now, fast forward it. She was just a small GM then. Now she's an owner, and she watched El LeBron himself do the same thing. That's kind of nice full circle for herself.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing though, for a businesswoman, I've seen it in the past, linked to the present. I give her a lot of respect, even with WoW. Keep it going and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I heard what she said, how she wants to bring these independent wrestlers, let these girls who need a voice out there. Boom.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot. Like, the gimmicks can seem a little cheesy, but at the same time, it's like they're not fully 100% polished, but it's a great thing seeing an early career and like some of the stuff they're doing. I mean, Holiday's gimmick is great. You know, they just introduced.
She just keeps revamping the same and over, and it gets better.
Oh, yeah. That bring it to yourself. Bring closer.
Yeah. Whoop.
Yeah. Don't be Mike.
No, that's Mike.
Yeah, no, but seriously, some of the people that are there, like I remember Randy Rah from way back when. She's still there. Haven't seen her really since one episode, but like they've got BK Rhythm, who's kind of like has that John Cena Doctor of Thugonomics version as a female performer. So it's like, what was it? They've got one of them that's supposed to be part of the Gambino family.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like and then they have their own female version of Brock Lesnar, the Beast.
Oh yeah, you always need that. There's always
Yeah,
room for the beast.
you know, like, and that's the thing. Their current champion, at least from the latest episode, Princess Aussie, and then they have their faction of the Fabulous Four, which is like a Heart Foundation thing, where they have their enforcer, they have their former champ, they have their tag team champions who were twins, and I gotta say they even have their own version of the Bloodline because they have the Island Dynasty.
I will say, and excuse me, I apologize. I'm not any kind of racial or anything. They have their token Samoans, just like the WWE.
Yo, the Island Dynasty though, for them, oh my, the
Yeah.
Tonga twins are amazing.
Yeah.
It really is a shame that it doesn't get talked about enough, but I really like this is something I just wanted to put out there because, you know, I love goofy wrestling. You know, if you grew up watching wrestling in the 80s when, everybody had a job and stuff, but then there was Glow where you got women's wrestling, but they didn't take it seriously. They take this one a little more seriously, but you can still see like it's a little slower paced. In all honesty, I think the ring is actually a little smaller.
Smaller.
It's a smaller ring. They don't really have the ring steps, but they have some great characters, and it's definitely worth it. It's something that I recommend checking out if you're any kind of wrestling fan and you like goofy wrestling.
Yes. Now I got to get even to a little serious wrestling a bit. Have you seen the Iron Claw trailer that A24 is?
Yes, I have seen it. It looks like it's going to be really good.
Mhm.
It's going to pay correct homage and respect to the family of the Von
Yup.
Erichs. So I am definitely, this is something that I'm waiting once it comes
too.
out. I still have to watch Wrestlers on Netflix, but
Yeah.
that'll be down the line. But yeah, I've got a vacation coming up soon, so I need to have things to watch. So we have things to discuss on the lovely Dragoon's Lair podcast.
Yes.
So now, do you have anything you want to plug, promote, your socials, anything before we head out?
First off, I like to say that this now, what do you got besides Doug? Hi, Doug. And Toy.
Yep.
Yep.
Toy.
Toy. I
Toy.
like the question he asked, by the way.
Yep.
Well,
Thank you, Thoy, once again for now letting us all know about Mike's finger.
leave the finger alone. Yeah. But we know I got that non-disclosure
Yeah,
agreement until next year.
Yeah, once that comes out, Jimmy will have some amazing stuff to talk about, and Jimmy will be here on a more frequent basis.
Yep. That's one thing I'm going to tell everybody now, and I've told Dan, I've told Mike, I'm here for the go, guys.
Yep.
All right. But one thing is this. I've been where I was in my nice little secluded area for about 3 weeks. Got a little networking. And I will say this. I am getting these guys their nationwide view. And that's a promise that believe me, it's a family thing, as I say. It's a family thing. But I will tell you, you can find me at James Haynes IV on Facebook. You can find me James H_4 on Instagram. All right, you can find me.
Did you also since you got Instagram, did you do the threads?
Yes.
There you go. So
I'm also on Threads. I finally I got one thread up so far, but bear with me. I'm still getting used to that. I don't do the X or the Twitter or whatever it is because I trend on everywhere else. And if you need proof, I got a little feline that everybody loves. All right. So, but there I go, and I'm back.
That's right. Jimmy's back, and Jimmy's going to be more of a staple here because Jimmy is like a brother to me. So he is family as far as I'm concerned. And in the Dragoon's Lair podcast, we love each and every one of you. So we want you all to make sure you tune in and show your love and be part of the Dragoony army because let's face it, the world sucks. So why not have a little fun with it?
The world is a vampire.
Unfortunately,
That was a nice little tune
yes,
at
but
the
it's
end.
it's really just like the world is draining me like a vampire at this point. But you can find the Dragoon's Lair podcast on all your podcasting platform needs, iHeartRadio, iTunes, which is also Apple Podcast, and you can find on Amazon Podcast, and of course, our home is Spotify. So you can check us out, and you can find me on my socials, Blue Dragoon 13 on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitch, on YouTube, and on the Twitch page you can actually find the link for the Discord group so you can join that, as well as you can find me on Threads. I don't really do X, which I'm not calling it X because it's still, you got to type in Twitter because Musk, you don't have the domain name for X. And if you did, it would really sound dirty. So let's be clear on this one. I will promote on Twitter, but I am not really on Twitter.
I'm not paying that money.
Oh, you won't see any of my stuff because I'm not giving that man any money. You
Nope.
know, so I want you guys to have the best experience you can. We don't charge you anything for listening to this. If you want to support us, all I ask is really that you watch the episodes on my YouTube channel, Blue Dragoon 13. You listen to us on Spotify. Please, if we have advertisements before or after the show, please, or even maybe intercut, just please don't skip them. We're trying to make sure that we have more of a reach and we have the ability to provide you guys with even better content as time progresses. So please just be here for us as we hope to be there for you. And with that being said, on a positive note, you don't have to go home, but you
You
can't
can't stay
stay here.
here.
Now get out.
Ah.
Later.